Welcome to the Soft Vikings, a quest for meaning, purpose, and love. I'm John, the lost son.
I'm Eric, the tyrannical father.
How are you doing?
Still tyrannical, hopefully
Still a father, still a
Yes.
tyrant.
still a tyrant.
Yeah, I think
The father thing will always be there, but hopefully the tyrannical dimension will be, I don't know. Um,
benevolent king.
yes.
Isn't that the the flip of the coin
Yes.
for the tyrannical father?
Yeah.
It's the benevolent king.
Yes, maybe that's
Which is
the goal.
which is very much needed anywhere.
Yeah, it's a resource.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's going to be where I had to aim because it's hard for me not to be the king, right?
I don't think
That's a tall order.
you wouldn't like. No, I
Or
don't know how
maybe
you
I
would
should
fare
be
well.
so humble that I'm just, becoming a servant. But the king is a servant in a way.
Yeah,
He
that's
serves his nations or his people. I mean, at least he should.
I agree. The it's the aspect of the leader. It's not. It's supposed to be demanding some sacrifice.
Yes.
Uh, so you get the benefits when the times are good.
Yes.
However, and that's the weight. The crown is heavy on the king.
Yeah, you have
Sometimes
to have some muscles in your neck. So I'm working on that.
the neck muscles.
Muscles. Uh,
Yeah, that is true. No, I think your desire to lead, let's say, is that's valid. It's just how it's done sometimes.
yeah,
I
of
think it's
course.
the issue. You want to be loved or feared, right? Uh,
Yeah. King, you people love me. Oh, my time is out. They don't fear me anymore.
Sometimes,
Yes.
yeah, it can
No, that's
depend.
Machiavelli. I mean,
That's loyalty too,
yeah, you
which is
have
a
to
side of love.
if you should stay in power, they have to be afraid of you
Yeah, but then he also talks
in a
about
way.
loyalty.
Yeah, very
So
much.
just that love is very weak. It's loyalty is much stronger than love,
Yeah.
and
So we should change the quest that the quest
for
should be for
loyalty,
loyalty.
yeah, in many ways, I think the word love is, especially in English,
It's
I love
it's
ice cream.
such a big category. It's
Yeah,
like
it goes from nothing to
almost without meaning.
yeah, it means too much. It's yeah, it's not like the Greek, like 3, 4 kinds of love.
That's true. But maybe we should work on that. It's loyalty is. I like loyalty. At least I like people being loyal to me.
Yeah, and before we jump into today's episode, the did you ever read the Robert Greene? He has some quite a few books.
Yeah, the latest about.
No, just for example, the 48 Rules of Power.
No,
No,
haven't read that.
and they're
For
quite good.
it's
He has
it's
2 books of them, 48, and then he did a collaboration with 50 Cents, which is 50 laws. He added
that's many. That's maybe why.
many laws,
Yeah.
but the point was that they were all just examples, and
Yes.
he had a short story and
Yeah.
like a historical thing, and then why
Around
it
each
worked.
rule.
Yeah, and one of them was that if you wanted to have someone loyal to you,
Yeah.
you were better off turning an enemy into a friend,
Yes.
into an ally,
Yes.
than starting with an ally.
Yes.
Because you don't know what's in their hearts, they might turn.
Yes.
But if you can turn an enemy
Yes.
into being loyal to you,
Yes.
you know what you know where they came from.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of the essence. So
Yes.
because the love, oh, they love me. It's very scary if you don't know how they hate you.
Yes.
So you gotta know the dark side.
Yes.
That was quite interesting. And they're
So
more loyal as well if you
yes,
turn them.
that's a valid point.
Anyways, so we're gonna try to turn some loyalties, huh?
Yeah,
See today.
I like the concept of loyalty, and of course it goes both ways. And what we try to do today is to um, start the five episode series where we go into and try to flesh out the personality we have. Uh, we I don't know. Say you can say we believe, but we think that, or maybe believe, because we maybe don't not really know that each person comes into life with some sort of fixed personality.
Hmm.
That of course is changeable, but it's like very deterministic of how you're going to live your life.
I agree.
Have a great influence, and the next aspect is of course the environment, what's happening to you, um,
Hmm.
and that will in a way um, depends on your personality. It's like also how you react and how you digest all the
Yeah.
events in your life, and how you and then you become the person you at
It's like
each
a
moment are.
role playing game, and in any role playing game, you start out by getting or giving different points to
Yes,
different attributes,
yes,
and they tend to maybe go up in the game later, but
yes.
they rarely change too much. So you
S-
have you come out as a fixed person.
Yeah. So what we think that both to learn each other better, that you and me can know each other better, and understand why a lot of things are coming out the way they are, and also to give the listeners a possibility to you know us better. And doing this, we want to use some tools that's simple and available for everybody. And we build on the Big Five theory. I don't know if that's a theory either. I think that's more an empirical. It's grown up empirically. It's not like a overarching theory around the Big Five model.
No, it's just how I think it's like the agreed upon how you condense it as much as possible,
Yeah.
because you can divide the trait into very many parts if you
Yes.
start doing it. But so it's the catch-all.
Yes. And that's a tool that's available for everybody. It's easy to take it. You can take it in a short form, long form. We
Mhm.
we we, we took a short form, not
Yes.
very complicated one, and we have the results at the table. So we want to walk through that. Can explain a little more in detail the Big Five model? That's such a pedagogue.
Uh, the big, in detail.
Yes, not in detail, just an overview before we jump into each of them.
I- Uh, that's I mean, like fundamentally, I think it's just a tool to how to measure uh, people's tendency to do things in the real world. How do they act? How do they think of themselves? And the big five is just how you divide it into easy five categories.
Right.
But of course, there's subcategories
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on each one. So
It's a
it's a
simplifying.
simplifying tool.
Yes.
And
But
good thing about simplifying is then you can compare people.
yeah.
But of course, it's not 100% or.
No, but we try to use it to also bring that aspect into the story we have, and the father and son relation we have, uh,
Yeah.
and
So
why it's problematic, and how we can grow and move forward. And then it's good to have that as a established platform.
mm,
So then it's know yourself. That's like one of the aims in this series. And of
mhm.
course, if you know yourself and really work on that, you also start understanding others better, maybe.
Yeah, it's very hard to know others if you have no concept of yourself.
No.
You're kind of lost in.
And we always see the others through our own eyes, and our
That is it.
eyes is always biased in
Your,
one way or another.
your filter is
Yes.
your filter.
So it's very few of us that have a clear sight and don't bring ourselves into the
Well, that's the thing.
observation.
Our our experience of reality is reconstructed in our brains
Yeah.
in a tremendous degree.
The poor
And
brain is just inside the skull, and the only thing he has is our
relies on
senses to
sensors
get some information.
and not and its own imagination,
Yes.
because there's many
It's how.
ways the brain kind of fills in the blank.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of
it doesn't
theories.
need to get complete information
No.
because that would be impossible
Yeah,
and
well, we
slow.
have categories, so it's like if we see something that
Exactly.
reminds of something, we say it's this.
We just assume.
Yes.
There's a lot of assumption going on.
Yes.
That's the fundamental.
Yes.
And assumptions are great because they're fast.
Yes.
And if you're accurate, it's about accurate. You're good to go.
Yes.
And so this
And if you
that
want to be 100% accurate, you're probably
takes
dead
too long.
before you come to the conclusion.
It takes too long.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean,
But sometimes you have time. That's like
that's for
slow and
example,
fasting
what,
in type
yeah,
1, 2, Kahneman.
exactly. And that's kind of what we do here now. Is you can have meet someone for the first time and talk to them for 10 seconds, and you have a
picture.
judgment.
Yeah. Because
Because you have to.
yeah,
You can't be like, oh, I met someone, I have no clue. Then you really poor at social skills.
yeah, and your survival skills are poor
Yeah,
also.
because, yeah.
You can get away with it in a modern nation, but
But and the strange thing is that if you are intelligent and highly socialized, that 10 seconds more than often are correct.
yes,
You're putting people in a broad category.
yes,
But of course you don't really know them. So that's what we're gonna do a little bit today with the big five, the personality tests.
yeah. The big
That's
five, yes. The ocean is like the
acronym, yeah.
yes,
The O for openness today.
yes, and then
The C,
yes,
well, that's a conscientiousness. So
yes,
there we go. OC.
yes, and then it's extroversion
Yeah.
or extroversion versus introversion.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They're
Because
all these traits
if
are
you
named on one side.
yes, yes, and then it's agreeableness
Yeah.
or empathy, somebody would say, because if you're high on agreeableness, you're
Yeah. So this is just a word that's catching a lot of things.
yes.
Categories.
And the last one is
Neuroticism.
yes, I gave it to you.
How that's a hard. It always gives you stress to say that word. Neuroticism is
Yes.
How nervous, how
Yeah.
tough.
Yes,
How hard did you look at life?
Yes.
Basically, how
Yes.
hard you take it.
yes, yes.
And,
How? Yeah. If you can, stand the pain and still keep going, or if you're just paralyzed,
yeah,
whatever, just with too much wind.
yeah, and I actually listened to some podcast yesterday, as I do every day, and short it was that physical strength and depression are
Co-
correlated. That meaning if you're stronger, you're
Less depressed.
less depressed.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger is
It was just if you
never
correlated
depressed.
for it didn't matter which gender as
No.
long as you were strong.
Yes. So
Yes, there's something to it.
keep on
And the
lifting the
physical
weight, guys.
yeah, and physical exercise
Yes,
of course helps
of course.
tremendously. But
Yeah.
if you're born tremendously weak, you're probably more likely to be depressed because it's harder to live.
Yes.
Makes sense though. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're gonna do the openness today. And
Yes.
to get the show rolling, the average score is 58%.
So if you take the test, the average is 58% open.
Yeah, openness.
Yes.
They don't really scale it like open to closed, so it's
No.
just openness.
Yeah, but shall you say a little about what
Openness is.
yeah, in the category? What does it really tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, the openness is easily described by the more open, the more abstract, the more new ideas, new things, creative. Usually, not always, but could be creative thinking.
Yeah, you're comfortable with abstract ideas.
Yes, and the less score, the lower score in openness, the more concrete. Like I
Yeah.
like to think about that specific thing.
Then at the end, if you're like super low on openness, then you take basically everything literally.
For example, you don't want your accountant to score very high in openness.
No.
You could get very creative on your tax.
Depends on your
yeah,
line of business,
A few
and
of
your
them
business style.
might pull it off. But
Yes.
you're like usually
Yeah.
you want those
Yes,
kind
yeah.
of people to be like quite
Yeah.
low.
Yes.
That they should like to do the same concrete thing
Yes. Yes.
because it's also it kind of translate into what you kind of like to spend your time with doing.
Yes.
So if you're very high in openness, doing the same task over and over, it's not a pleasant experience.
No, but if you're low on openness, sometimes you're a practical person
And then you
because
like to do the
yeah,
same
you
thing.
know, yeah, you know how to do this, and you know how to get this done, and you don't, fade out and start thinking about why and can I do this differently or have big ideas around it. And
Yeah.
also, if you're low on openness, you stick to what you know, I guess. So you are traditional.
So this is like this is the issue with this big five is that you put one big label on
Yes.
a lot of things.
Yes.
So of course, if you really want to get specific, you have to kind of go into every kind of trait.
Yes.
And how you are living your life in habits might be
Yes.
different than how you like to think about art. You know?
Yes.
So
So there. That's like the flavor of love in openness. It's like more. You go more habits and more practical. You stick to traditions. You may be more conventional, conservative type, sort of.
used
But
to be.
yeah, used to
That
be.
part. Now you're not you conservative. Yeah.
Yeah, that's flipped around.
That no, but yeah. So, but in general, yes. The more the lower in openness, the more you like to be applying it to the real world. It should
Yes.
work.
But if you're high on openness, you are more, creative is a hard word, but you're most maybe more disposed for it. Or to put it the other way, I think really creative persons are high in openness.
Yes, usually.
Usually,
I think so. I think that's a correlation, sure.
yes.
And because if you don't like to do those things, you don't do them.
No.
Basically, you
No.
kind of avoid the process, because any creativity is kind of unpleasant in many ways.
And the theory about it, and to understand it, it's like um, it's very much about how the brain is networked, how your neurons are firing.
Yeah, that it's hard to say. They don't really have a fixed measurement for these things. I don't think they can put you in a brain scanner and say,
No, no,
get
but
that
what they
score.
say is like you tasks and concepts, right, are in different compartments of your brain, and if you're low on openness, it's you more stick to the task. If you're higher, you always go higher up
Mm-hmm.
and move to first principle thinking and see what's the concept here and what's the governing idea, or is it possible to do it different, or etc.
Yeah. Yep. Of course. And it's very much connected to your what we call IQ, like you basically how much you can process,
Yes.
how quickly, and of course, if you're more open minded, you can connect things that doesn't seem to connect to someone who's low. You can
Yes.
actually make the connection,
Yes.
and that's making the connection in the brain. You
Well,
kind of make.
we haven't said that, but I think we should say it that this Big Five theory, it's not any morality in it. It's not like good or bad anything. It's
No, that,
no. So you cannot say it's good to be high in openness and bad to be low.
it, no, it's really dependent on for what purpose.
Yes, sometimes it's awful. If
Yeah,
it's a
if you,
concrete task you have to do to survive, and you start thinking about why, or can I do it differently?
yeah, it can be really tough
Yes.
to complete. Like,
And when you do business, or are at a team and should achieve something, and it's time for action, and this guy that oh, but shouldn't we,
mm-hmm,
or maybe that could be quite annoying or
you need
dysfunctional. So it's not both practically and morally. You cannot label this as good or bad.
no. I would agree on that.
Yes.
It's more or less useful
Yes.
depending on what you need, basically.
Okay, the lost son. How is it to be lost? Is it how is it over there to be the lost son?
Well,
It's
then you have the hope that you can be found. So that's pretty good.
that's
Yeah,
yes. Someday
someday.
they
So
will find me.
that's good.
Yes.
So lost.
So it's very hopeful in a way.
Many ways it is.
Yeah, because you have a lot of options.
Exactly. There's a lot of options, and there is a lot of possibility,
Yes.
and that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of potential.
And for an open-minded guy like me, that's
Yes.
preferable to the fixed
Yes.
in many ways.
Yeah, to be lost and fixed, then you're really fucked.
Then you're in jail. They lost the
Probably.
key. It's over.
It's over.
Nah. So to I mean that's I think the fundamental easiest question you can ask someone if they're how high they're in openness or low is that would you prefer to know what you're gonna do every day the next 5 years, for example? And if you're really low, you would say, I would like to know.
Yes.
I would know. I'd love to know my schedule
Yes.
for the next rest of my life.
Yes.
For me, that would be like, oh, I don't want to know exactly what I'm going to do every day.
So I guess you're, telling us a little about your score here because
Yeah.
you're talking
90.
as if you're high on openness.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
On this test, I scored 98%, which is
that's like a little crazy,
crazy high.
crazy high,
Yeah, well, it's a
crazy
small
open.
sample test
Yes,
on the questions,
yes,
but I think it's more or less accurate. Of course, it depends on what it is about, of course.
yes, yes.
And
You're not very open to my ideas on how you should be.
well, I tried out a few of them, I must say.
Didn't work.
I mean,
I have some
I
good
think you have
ideas.
some
I
good
mean,
ideas.
yeah, it's
I
not
think so.
yeah, it's not only, it's not only bullshit. It's a lot of it, but come on.
I just think your expectation of getting credit
Is
for such things are,
is too high.
what's the problem?
Yeah, so
Because
that's a good enough reason to say I don't do it because he was just in there for collecting credit and feeling good himself. So it's nothing
most,
about me actually.
I mean, the most ideas people get,
Yes,
and if they enjoy doing it, they
yes,
kind of try to adopt the ownership
yes.
that they came up with
Yeah, yeah,
themselves
yeah.
somehow, because that's how it sticks. So you wouldn't want to say, "Oh, I do this because Jesus told me." Yeah, it might be good, but you know, it is a tricky game. And if you want people to adopt your own ideas,
Yes,
you better sell them as they
theirs.
came up with
Yeah, yeah, that's the
themselves.
whole trick. We know that one. So that's also uh,
Give them the credit, basically.
yeah, and I think one thing is to as a trick, but the other thing is to really internalize it and live that way. I mean, as a businessman and a leader, I learned that the best way to get things going and to get things growing is to step aside and to really let people, come up with their ideas and appreciate them. Because if you're all the time the guy that comes with all the ideas,
Yeah,
boring. It's like you are too big. You take all the oxygen. It's like nothing left to the others, and
it's not much of a team
no, and
left.
then you sit there alone
Mm.
with your grandiose ideas. Maybe if the idea is like super, so it's like an invention or something that you just create a black box that just sits in the corner and create money.
Yeah, but
Then you can brag.
very few have pulled that off
Yes,
alone.
yes,
It's hard.
yes.
I don't see, you don't have many.
No.
You're gonna have to build a team that's, everybody have their strength and pull
But
off.
can you guess my score, dear son?
I think it's quite high openness.
Yes, it is.
It's I would say like 80 somewhere.
Oh, I'm up there in crazy openness. You know,
Crazy town.
we're
90.
both in
90.
crazy town. That's maybe why we do this
Yeah.
show here. It's like we're both high on openness and like to talk about ideas, and we really love theories, big theories.
The bigger the
Huge.
better.
Yeah, yeah, sweeping,
The bigger the better.
including everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then all that's internal, that's painful and complicated.
Let it go.
Yeah, let it go. Let's do the dance.
Yeah, and I think yeah, also the openness trait. You kind of look forward to the future
Yes. Yeah, you're
and
you're
like imagine
curious.
things.
Yeah, openness and curiosity,
Yeah,
I guess,
it's usually forward oriented
is.
somehow.
And I guess optimistic, pessimistic is maybe nothing included in that category. That comes more to
I don't think that's in openness. No.
neuroticism, I guess.
Yeah, that's correct. So your score was
My score was 94.
yeah. So there we go.
So I can. That's not a conflict zone between two personalities. When it you and me, in openness, we are
Exactly.
brothers in crime.
And I
Or
think that's how much you enjoy talking to someone
yes,
is usually has a lot to do with
yeah.
you
Because
share the same
if you're very high on
segment.
openness and you should, small talk or talk to one that's super low,
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, nobody enjoys.
No, both of
Both
them.
sides do not
This
enjoy.
stupid guy that talks.
Yeah, it's like, what are they talking
Yeah,
about?
why drag that into
Yeah.
this conversation? I thought we
You're
should.
talking about my hedge,
Yes.
my my lawn.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yes.
How do you cut the lawn?
Yeah.
Best.
Yes.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Not why the grass is growing.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Does it have feelings?
yes.
No, no, no.
No.
So this is, yeah, and I think you immediately sort, and since we both on that extreme end, I think you experienced probably as much as I that talking to, and
Yes.
many of them you don't. It's just,
Men hard.
yeah, it gets boring.
Yes.
It's okay, but it gets boring. It's like,
But it's not only openness, because if a very open person, only talk about themselves, but basically people are doing that.
yeah, that's different things.
Yes.
But of course, uh,
So they come
this
out
trait
with
doesn't cover
everything.
it all. But
No.
what you prefer to talk about regarding yourselves
Yes.
then would be different things.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you're low, you probably want to talk about
Your
your
routine,
routine, your habit,
yeah,
how I do it every day.
yeah, but I'm very high in openness, but I am also very fond of habits.
Yeah, and there you see that the trait
So that,
like
yeah, so it's
catch-all thing.
yeah. So in a way, the categorization is also, of course, giving insight, but it's also closing in in a way, because
Too broad.
yes.
Yeah, it's not specific enough. It's
But how are you about habits?
um, I'm pretty okay on my habits.
Not
It's
okay on your habits.
what do you
That's
mean?
no.
Like I enjoy
Do
my
you have
habits.
some habits at all? Of course you have.
Everybody,
Everybody have. Yes.
humans are.
Yes.
We love our habits.
Yes.
So it's a little
it's
tricky one.
Yeah. Stupid question.
Mm. I mean, we tend to differentiate between so-called good and bad habits
Yeah.
some of the time.
Yeah.
Because we
To
tend to say this is a
snort
good.
Coke every morning is maybe not a good habit
No,
as a
maybe not.
starter.
Not for you, maybe.
No,
But
I don't need it.
for
But
the local economy, it might be great.
Yeah,
No.
maybe. Yeah. But for the person
Yeah,
himself.
exactly. So, and we are, as humans, we are extremely concerned about habits, meaning that the best example is you have like a movie theater, everybody goes in,
Yeah.
there's a break,
Yes.
everybody goes out.
Yes.
What happens? Everybody gets back in the same seat.
Yes.
There was no order in there,
No.
but everybody immediately assumed their habit.
Yeah, it's a way to simplify life and
Yeah. And
and save your brain for a lot of work.
save brain power, do the
Yes.
same thing.
Yes.
Easy.
Easy, and then you can use it. And I think that's why I'm, very happy with my habits. Of course, I'm bragging a little here because I think my habits are, my real helpers.
But you probably always said that.
Yes.
That's the irony. Habits changed,
Yes.
the attitude stays the same.
Yeah.
So,
Whatever content is there.
yeah.
No, because when it comes to good habits, because we can talk about bad habits and good habits. I think that most people have a common understanding of that,
Yeah, you tend to not want to change your good ones, but you do want to.
or build up good ones.
Yeah, but you want to change your so-called bad.
Yeah,
habits.
and it's so interesting that most of us know what's good for us and what's bad for us, right? We have the knowledge.
Yeah, most.
If you don't have the knowledge what's good for you and bad for you, okay, then you maybe should start
Then you're
reading.
truly lost,
Yes.
right?
But let's assume that you have that. But still, to do what's good for you, hard.
Yeah,
To
can
do
be
what's bad for you, very often easy.
exactly. That's
And I said, that's the difference between me and you. I do what's good for me and do.
yeah, in your opinion,
Yeah,
right?
of course. No, I think we can come into that because we're both high on openness. We love to dance around with big ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And um, that means that we can also put forward ideas about
Yeah, I
who
think
you are and who I am, and we have a platform for communication there.
it's philosophy in many ways. The
Yes,
love of knowledge,
yes,
and
and you can take down my, you know, get me down from the high horse, the pedestal I try to sit on.
there's always the risk that you get lost in the sky, though.
Yes.
High openness, because the dream is sweeter than making it real.
But we have to have
Sometimes.
all of the five, filled in because the different traits are like correcting each other. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's important before we really try to, get some sweeping statements on the table.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, so we we both appreciate novel and new ideas.
Yes. And I think
That's
that's
a common ground.
always been a platform we had, even through uh, conflicts or all these painful things that's been between you and me.
Mm-hmm.
We have always the possibility to escape into non-personal, more theoretical, grandiose ideas,
Mm-hmm.
politics, how the world is.
So that's interesting. That the safe zone has been for many
Yes,
like the worst place to be.
yes,
Is talk about radical and political ideas and like
yes.
wars, all the
Yeah,
all the crap, right?
yes, and of course, it's not been a really zone of conflict because we have a very similar philosophy in a lot of big questions. Or
Sure.
yes,
But and we spent a lot of time talking about it.
yes,
So and since we're both open to ideas, you kind of there's a lot of room to accept another person's
right.
view on things,
Yeah,
because
it's
and you might change it. It's not fixed necessarily.
yeah, that's the definition.
It's more like, yeah, it's open.
Yes.
It's okay. Whatever works the best.
And I remember you had a period where you were very, obsessed by some ideas. You had this. I remember you were
Interested.
super into this peak oil. You were like,
It was peak oil,
yes,
so I wasn't.
it has peaked.
Yeah, the date is fixed, my friend.
Yeah, but yeah,
It's
it is
already
a fix.
passed.
It's passed.
Yeah, but the
Based on we know that the oil or what shall you say,
well,
oil,
peak
gas
oil
in it.
just means that you spent half
Yeah, yeah.
the well,
But then you have
basically.
to know how deep the well is, and we don't really know, right? But
Well, why
we know
why
there
it
is a bottom there.
yeah, and but why it's not talked about and changed is mainly shale technology.
Yeah, you can squeeze out more.
It went so quickly.
Yes,
They suddenly pumped out tremendous amounts of oil.
yes.
But if you
But
didn't
I
go to the
remember
shale
you were
fields,
like that idea. Then you were like little fixed on it. I don't know. I
but
thought it was like, oh,
nobody
this
wanted
is
to talk about it
no,
mainly, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so it was on moral on it that you were like, okay, guys, wake up. This is happening, and this is gonna
Well,
govern the world. And
in many ways, it has happened. I mean, the focus of getting away from oil and
that's not driven because it's we're gonna
in many
empty
ways
it.
it is because
Yeah, but
the
the
energy.
rhetoric is not there. The whole climate discussion
It's
is
not
not
what they
about
say, but
no,
the big oil companies know that their model is not going to last forever. They
no.
need to change
No, but
their
that connects to all type of natural resources that's not renewable,
exactly. That's the simple basic point. Is that
and that's the basic problem about growth. Because if we grow and grow and we consume things that cannot be renewed, that's been like a big question in the last 200 years, I guess, since
it's a
the
challenge?
Industrial Revolution. There are always these Malthusian guys popping up and saying, "No, we are at the limit. We cannot
Sure.
push farther."
Well, yeah, there's limits to growth, but it's way easier to make chat rooms online than to build them in reality. So we kind of already snuck past. Internet is easier to grow online
Yeah.
than
So
in the
there's
real world. We already kind of moved on.
yeah, we can grow without spending natural
The
resources.
same. Yeah,
Yes.
you don't have to print the books
No.
online the same way. It
Yes.
requires some energy, of course, but not the same amount. So
Yeah. So you can have virtual growth.
exactly. I mean, that's the been the growth.
Yeah, in a way, but
Big.
it's also materially because we spend resources. So you have to have mobile phones, you have to have cables, you have to have electricity to drive the show. It's like
But that value doesn't justify how much we value the big tech
no, but
companies.
I think you're mixing two things here because one thing is growth in like a spiritual or meaningful way. Another is growth in consuming natural resources. That's
Yeah, but we kind of we tapped into a new market,
yeah,
basically,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
saying that
That's the hopeful thing, right? That
data, human data, is now a resource.
yeah, yeah, and we can start. We can utilize the natural
Yeah.
resources much more efficient.
But when you couldn't collect it, it was not a resource you could. It wasn't a useful resource. The same with oil, you can't pump out. It's
But
not
that
worth anything.
when you had this peak oil period, I think it was a little dark period in your life also
Yeah,
because you were very
but
pessimistic.
I had many other things I was concerned about, and
But I think
of
it
course there was some state of mind things, but there was a lot of I was discovering how much of like the story that's been told, like that I was told before, was not true in so many ways.
but I
And there's
also
been so many things that's been like when when you grow up and think CIA are the good guys, and then you start to read what they've been up to, and it's like, shit, my worldview is shattered, and the good guys are no longer the good guys. So I think it was a period of accepting
understanding
and
the
seeing
reality of
the
life.
reality is much more complicated.
But from the outside, for me it was correlating with you being in a not so good state in yourself. It was also, one of the periods where your drug abuse were high,
Yeah,
uh,
I
and you were like,
smoked a lot of weed.
yeah, and you were like, coming back from your time in Budapest
That's correct.
without a degree.
Yeah, that's
And
correct.
yeah, And so big ideas can be also an escape, right?
Of course, it can be. Anything can be an escape.
Yes.
Anything.
Yeah, but if you
Just how
find
it's applied.
openness, you may be closer to, run into that type of escape.
I think any action can be used as an escape. It's mostly why it's done, basically. You can say working out. You can say name any action, and if you use it in a certain way, it is an escape. It's the desire to get away from
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm on with that completely.
No. So
But
so
I
that
would
was
try to,
that was back in
bring this closer to us.
yeah, that was in many ways a dark period, but it was also a very educational period. I learned a lot of things, and it's the to find someone else that also thinks about the same things is where it can get a little problematic, because if you don't find many, you can feel like you are going mad, crazy, right? Because don't you guys see?
Yeah, it's like a
You know what I
prophet.
mean?
You were standing there alone with your prophecies, and nobody wanted to listen.
Well, in many ways, that nobody wanted to listen is that's very harsh. That's not true, right?
No, no,
But
that's to drag it.
most
But
people don't tend to want to think about these problems
no, that's too.
because it's hard.
Yeah,
It's
that's.
uncomfortable, right?
I mean, in the Judaism, where all the prophets, they were like always problematic persons,
But
and never really. Nobody wanted to. It's too painful or too complicated, and it's disturbing your everyday life, and you don't want it, especially if it's something that's um, not desirable, something you're going to lose or something bad's going to happen, etc.
sure. And yeah, people tended to associate bad news with the messenger a lot of the time. They hate the messenger,
Yes,
but they actually don't. They hate the news.
yes.
But it's a little conflict there. So nobody wants to
But
be the messenger.
I remember, well, this period when you were like the peak oil
Wasn't But
prophet.
it wasn't the only thing.
No, no, no. It
By
was a
any
mix.
means.
It was
It
a
was
mix
many
with
things
but it was very intense, and it was like
because people didn't understand.
yeah, yeah. So you were a preacher man, right? And I think that's because if I don't know, I'm speculating and I'm trying to get this into more emotional stuff.
You could said it was many reasons why, but like that specific topic, it it that happened, and it's just that the spin has become not that we are in a way running out of oil. It's been we have to move away
Yes.
because of the environment. So
Yeah, but when it comes to the content, there's no problem. We can really,
but of course,
dance around that. But what I'm trying to get at is that the reason I was very tired of this, it was like there was such a discrepancy between this grand theory that we and how I saw that you lived your life, right or wrong, right? I saw that you
yeah.
didn't, you didn't. Um, you didn't work really. You didn't really have something going for you. You didn't really have economy and all this type of traditional measures if you are like life is going your way. And then all your energy and all the communication went into these grand ideas.
Mm.
And maybe I think that's I don't know if that's something that's correlated with openness. Maybe that you are like want to save the world, but are not able to swim yourself.
It's well, that comes back to other traits, I think, more.
Yeah, more,
But I don't
but you have to have
particularly
some.
care so much
You
for
have
my
to
own.
be open for grand ideas.
Sure, but I'm not. In many ways, I don't care too much what happens to myself in such ways. I'm more. I would be willing to sacrifice myself for the others. It's much more appealing than to have them sacrifice themselves for me.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is a different trait.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But,
And that's some of the
but
beauty with your personality or the mix that you have this sensitivity and this caring side, which I haven't really
that's not
evaluated or
not for today in the
no, it
openness
will come.
department. But as you point out, if you are very high in openness, you also run the risk of going down rabbit holes and into things that aren't necessarily real or practical in any sense. You can get lost in the clouds,
Yeah.
basically,
Yes.
and that's a risk.
And that's
That's not,
delicious and delicious traveling, you know, to get really lost in big ideas. I love that.
yeah. It's that's for someone high in openness. That's the great party.
Yes.
To sit and talk about those things for
Yes.
many hours.
Yeah, and
It's awesome.
that's good for us. We have that, and we can just thank God Mighty or whoever He gave us this personality traits, evolution.
I think it's also probably correlated with the enjoyment of drugs,
Yep,
uh,
and art and
and
music,
and and also
books.
how much you are. If you're high in openness, you probably won't make a habit too easily because you're more
Yeah, you can
doing it
change.
easily. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
change more easily.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah, yeah. Because you're
because we
new
both
things.
share that trait that we don't really get. We might like to do things, but we're not so addicted.
No,
If you know what I
I
mean.
have changed, you know,
Many.
focus and very into periods, right?
Yeah.
So, oh, that's all about this, and then okay, done it, and also very much, you know, the starting
And
phase of things.
yeah, and the desire for change. And
Yes.
I mean, we can get into that later. That I mean, you're in your professional career, you enjoyed the first phase,
Yeah, I'm an
not the
entrepreneur type.
not
Uh,
the running and
uh,
maximizing
no,
the business phase.
I'm not super good in operationals.
It's not your interest.
Not my interest. I learned that is part of the game, and if I want to succeed, I have to, you know, at least evaluate it and have
Have
people
someone
around
else do.
me that can do that.
Yeah,
But I can be a problem in a running operation.
because you just, now let's try this out.
Yes.
It's like that might be a good idea. Let's change it.
But my greediness is like holding me back
Holding me
because
back.
I know
Yeah.
that this will be
Yeah,
expensive.
that would be probably not the best way.
Yeah, so I have
But
that balance.
let's yeah, pink shirt day.
Yes,
Okay, not too
okay.
expensive.
Not too expensive. Let's do it that way.
That's it. That's very fascinating. No, it's so to land on the start of the big five here is that you can have a broad category
Yeah,
like openness, and it of course an individual will be. It depends on what you're doing.
yeah. We maybe we took also a test that was very broad, and I think if you take one of the tests that are with 1,000 questions, you will have many subcategories that you could walk into.
Sure.
So
That's
we
for
didn't
sure.
do that.
Well, it's a good starting point.
Yes.
Um, at least you get an idea of what we hate and love. So if you see us on a cocktail party. Don't talk about your fridge and lawn and
Oh no, then let's talk about
clothes you wear.
why are we here?
Yeah, start there.
Start there.
Yeah,
And how did we get here? And as Elon Musk, how in hell should we get away from here?
how can you get away? No, I started to on parties. I started to say, "How are you?" And if they pause, "How are you really?"
Yes.
That kind of goes. It's no pleasant small talk.
No, no, no. That's you're a party pooper. That's not.
No,
No.
they kind of.
But how
Well,
are you?
those who
You're
don't
okay
enjoy it,
in,
they
you're
run
okay
away.
in small talks.
I can do it.
Yes.
Because I see that with some people it's a better way to interact.
Yes.
But then I won't stick around.
No.
I will say, okay, nice to talk to you.
I can also do it, but I am many times very shy, so it's like people don't understand that by me, I think,
Yeah.
because it's not much in my appearance that are signaling that here comes a shy person.
No. I think that's a good place to end, and that's the difference, because we are in many ways very similar.
Yeah.
But in in life, and in many ways you have had your resources as a kind of a protection, a shield
Yeah.
in many ways, and a lot of people can't see past it either. But I lived many ways without.
Yeah, you have
In
been
some ways, though, not in all ways, but
no, but on the
in
other
some ways. And
yes.
then you kind of have to. Then you have to rely on other things.
Yes.
So I built up much more of practical experience and confidence in how to um, how to basically be charming without any resources.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You couldn't flash with
No
cars and big
flashing
job and
possible.
an impressive CV and
No. Then you got to
big
rely on
flat.
other things.
Yeah, and that's a super strength. I mean,
And
I
that's you
admire
can't
that.
be taken away, because nobody can take that away from you.
That's also a beautiful thing, that success or is not measured on the outside. It's should be measured the way you can,
Yeah,
manage to live.
rich. How I think we can talk about that another day too. Like there's many different kind of ways of being rich, and some are really important and some are less. Like health, maybe if you're not rich in health, it's
Yeah,
the rest is
if you're sick, the only thing you think of is getting healthy.
exactly.
And when you're healthy, you think of all kind of
Then
shit.
you start to go down the list.
Yeah.
No. So in my twisted way, and I have some many regrets, of course, of could spend my time other ways.
We all have.
And I've been suffering from my generation, and the problem has been the allure of the never-ending distraction of internet games.
Yeah, you've been stuck there.
Yeah, I've done that a lot, and I think that's such a potent combination for a young guy.
Yeah,
Is games,
yeah. But I think,
games and drugs,
yeah,
and you're in.
but I think that, sorry to interrupt you, but what we're going to talk a lot about is, the way we are escaping from ourselves, from bad feelings, from wounds, from traumas. And, that's why we also talk about this personality, because that's also, in a way, mapping out your strategies or giving you some indications of where you're going when you handle these difficult things, right?
Mhm.
And of course, the difficulties you have faced are different from mine, because we're born in it's one generation between us, and things are happening so fucking fast now. So there is
Yeah.
almost impossible for one generation to understand the environment for the next generation. Now that's very new, and that is also making a conversation between father and son more difficult.
Absolutely, it's changing the game.
Yes.
It's also changed the respect of the elders, because if they don't know how to do it, it's
Yeah,
why
because
would you rather?
usually the elders were, holding all the wisdom, and they could answer the difficult questions, and now they okay, but maybe they didn't still know because
They do, but
a lot of these new things is noise and not signals, and
I agree on that part.
and there is some basic understanding on what and how to be a human that older people know more about than younger.
That's indeed true. But there's so many now.
Yeah,
That's
so
also an
many
issue.
old ones, yes,
So how
and so few young.
Yeah. So
So
it used to be different.
yeah, so they're
So
cute.
when you
Yeah.
were like pulled off to become old and wise,
Yes, yes.
old man,
Then
you
you
were
were,
like
you know,
achievements.
yeah, you were in this, you're rare.
Yeah,
So there were like few of you, yes, scare commodity.
that's different.
Yeah, now there is too many.
Yeah. Now we have.
So don't push me over the cliff. I
Oh,
want
no.
to jump myself.
Yeah, I'll do it myself.
Okay.
But so we ended here today.
Yes,
We'll be back from
with
next one.
conscientiousness. That's an interesting one.
It is interesting,
Yes.
and let's just say that we are high enough to come back for the next episode.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll end there.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. See
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.